Hey, what's up, y'all? What's up? We're going to call this piece Body Types Women Find Attractive. And I'm here with Cousin T Tall, your baby mama's favorite cousin. And so we're going to, Cousin T Tall is going to give a presentation on the different body types that women will find attractive. It's not just one thing. A lot of guys, when we talk about body game, they'll think it's just one type, one specific type, but there's actually several types. So without further ado, Cousin T-Tar, take it away.
Well, salute to the group, salute to the viewers, obviously salute to the field master for hosting. Basically, with the experience that I carry over from I don't want to say shadow work completely because it's sort of a middle ground when we talk about the diesel lifestyle with the male exotic entertainer lifestyle. I know firsthand and I understand what types of bodies women are aroused by. So to be very clear, you can have a man in a nicely tailored suit. Obviously, Rom refers to men who know how to dress well and pair shoes with their outfit and how women are attracted to that. But when we talk about your natural frame, your musculature, your definition, your presentation of your masculine frame, physical frame, there are multiple body types. I always talk about a range. I always talk about a spectrum of body types that arouse various women. Now we can get down to the nitty gritty and discuss, universal body types. And I guess we'll do that first. Now I'm going to get this screen share. I'm going to get it down one way or another. One way or another, we're going to get it down. But the first thing that I want to mention is from, obviously, straight from the pages of the Seduction Scriptures. I wanted to make sure that I put out there a sort of standard that managers and recruiters look for when they're recruiting male exotic entertainment. Obviously, and this is from page 5 of the Seduction Scriptures. The industry standard is sort of what I refer to as the alpha showpiece or the ASP, right? Alpha showpiece. Dreamy face, 6 foot tall, 200 pounds, 40-inch chest, 18-inch arms, a tapered waist down to 6-pack abs. Now, obviously, the vast majority of men are not going to fit that standard. And that's why the word exotic is in there when we talk about exotic entertainers. But contrary to popular belief, that's not the only body style. But what I want to do is show a picture, just an example. And this is a very popular example of what a typical alpha showpiece is. And let's see if I can do this and bring up this showman right here, Michael Bolo, where obviously when we did our review of All the Queen's Men, Bolo was a central character, one of the lead sort of dancers with the group, at Madam's Club. Now, this is the prototypical alpha showpiece frame. Can't go wrong with that. Obviously, he was a former football player, but this is what I'll offer to this. Obviously, he's got the arms, he's got the shoulders, he's got the definition, he's got the traps, right? Got the taper, got the Adonis belt going. But he is 5'9". Okay.
That's what I was actually going to say, because you get some guys out here and they just like height. And I'm like, but there's only a small percentage of men who are over 6 feet. But then you got somebody like Bolo. He's known. He was on one of those Real Housewives shows, and women were losing their mind over him. But it's more about his frame. I mean, you look at that frame and women see that frame, they like, boom. It's like they're not breaking out a measuring stick. They seeing like the frame and they going crazy. And that's what I try to tell guys is say, look, don't get caught up in your height. You can still hit the gym. Bolo is a prime example. It's a prime example.
Absolutely. And this look right here, this is a bit more vascular than he shows up for a good portion of the year. Obviously, when he's got acting gigs or if he's doing a show, he'll tailor his nutritional program to highlight the abdominal area to make the veins pop. Obviously, it's called being more vascular, or being able to show more definition. But typically, men will carry an additional layer of fat, especially around this time of the year. Okay. I always say we are not separate from nature. So our mentality should not be that, oh, okay, the bears are, eating for getting ready for hibernation. The squirrels are storing food for hibernation, turtles or whatever. We are not separate from that. Mm-hmm. So our body naturally, holds more fat to store, especially, those of us who live in colder climates. And that really brings us to this next one that I really, really want to highlight. Now, this one I would usually save for last, but I want to hit this now because I want to make sure that we cover this well enough to drive the point home. So when we talk about what's called a bedroom body, okay, not as vascular, right? Obviously, he's got more weight, he's carrying more weight around the midsection. However, his musculature lets anybody know if the lights were completely off, you would still be able to tell that this is a masculine frame. You don't have to have abs popping, okay, in order to be an arousing man. Imagine putting a suit around this. This guy could go to any Walmart, any Kmart, any what is it called, S&M, whatever shop, pay $2 for a t-shirt and put a $2 t-shirt over this frame and still drive all the women that he's walking down the street, or if he's in a restaurant or a movie theater or whatever, he would still drive those women crazy. Okay, obviously he's grown out the beard. Obviously he takes care of his hair because it's cleaned up. Like you said, let the barber bless you. The barber is your best friend. But this is an example of putting together your natural tools. Doesn't have a Gucci belt on, doesn't have, $500 gaiters on. It doesn't have a $1,000 Armani suit, doesn't have, gold tip horn glasses, but ask yourself this honest question and just be honest about it. Does he need any of that? Does this guy need any of those additional accessories that some people would have you to believe are necessary to be attractive as opposed to arousing to a woman? Now, you know that we're all about seduction. For me, okay, I am all about the art and tool sets of seduction. And besides your mouthpiece, besides your fragrance, and besides, curating outfits that fit your frame, right? Yeah. Your body is your number one tool. That is the first and foremost and most prominent mode of communication. Because let's be clear, especially when you talk about exotic entertainment, your body is your primary form of communication. You are speaking, the language of the sensual dance. And what's interesting is, I get questions about, okay, what's the best technique? How do I position myself to be, the sexiest that I can for a woman? And my number one thing that I tell guys is, first, stand up. How is your posture? What do
Yes.
you look like when you're standing?
Oh, yes.
Are your shoulders slumped over?
Yes.
Something as simple as standing up is the quintessential position of masculine dominance, masculine authority, masculine leadership. And once that presence is felt, everything else falls into place. You don't even have to be the best dancer. You don't even have to be, you don't have to have a routine. And this is for, the average guy. You don't have to have a routine, obviously. You need to know how your body moves through space. Okay.
Right.
So you need to be comfortable with yourself. And that's probably one of the most key takeaways. Most men, most people, okay, people in general, but most men, because of advertising, because of propaganda industries, people wanting to sell things to people with the scarcity mindset. Most people aren't happy with their body. Most people aren't happy with how their body changes throughout the year. Even though, like I said, we're not separate from nature. Nature changes, nature cycles throughout the year. So does your physiological composition.
Well, let me interject a few things. One, that gentleman you showed with the bedroom body, because I've checked out, I check out the thirst comments and those thirst pages that women have, right, on IG. That's a very popular dude, and women, the comments are long whenever his picture pop up. And men of a similar build, right? That's one thing. What you said about the body being a primary form of communication, and this is what I've said, verbal communication is only maybe at most 10% of communication. At most 10%. Body language and everything. Women are looking at that. I remember years ago when I've had a few women say they can identify me by my walk. They said I have a distinct walk. One woman just told me straight up, said, "Ron, you got a sexy ass walk," but it's the communication, how I walk and everything. And women are looking at that. Dancers, how they dance. In fact, I personally pulled a lot of women just going to a club with them and dancing. And I ain't even always on rhythm either, but I just be moving. But it drives them crazy, but it communicates something. And then finally, what you said about someone being comfortable with their body, you actually confirmed something I said about body game. It's not even so much about the aesthetics. I mean, yes, that's important, but a man being comfortable with himself. Whatever he got. That's why I tell men, get the best form. Don't be thinking, if you naturally endomorphic, you don't have to be ectomorphic. You can't kill yourself. Just get the best form and then see which women like that. That's the main reason I wanted to do this. So you are confirming and you breaking it down to a further degree, because what do? You train men on how to use their bodies to make money. And I'm just like, yes, you're a professional confirming what I've been saying. But yeah, go on. I mean, this is powerful. I mean, wow. People, hey, anybody watching this, y'all need to be taking some notes. Y'all need to save this. Y'all need to go over it and over. This is deep dive into the body thing. So go ahead and finish, man. I don't want to talk too much because you know me, I can talk, but I want you to do this. Let us know.
Absolutely. And the comfortability around yourself is the central sort of theme to this whole thing, and the central thing to seduction. Presenting the type of frame and overall top to bottom presentation that is arousing to the type of women who are attracted to your type. I know that this is something that's spoken of, a lot in these spaces. Finding your tribe,
exactly.
Understanding your demographic and maximizing that. Now, obviously, there are men with body types that cross over, and that have the ability, to be attractive to multiple tribes or multiple groups, or a more diverse group of women. And an example of that would be sort of the apex athlete. Now, believe it or not, there are a lot of men who are former athletes or even current athletes who still have body dysmorphia. There are men who look like this, okay, shredded. And with the Olympics or the World Games, the men's 100 is the most watched and anticipated events. We can call out, sprinters throughout history: Michael Johnson, Usain Bolt, obviously Tyson Gay. Those are just a couple guys, or a few guys that come to mind, because men's sprinting is so popular because it is the apex of athletic pursuit. When they say, faster, higher, stronger, nothing is more encompassing of that than the men's sprinter. And a lot of men, especially athletes and former athletes, with their muscle memory, they played pee-wee sports. They were in the gym in high school. They played probably collegiate sports, or they still play recreational sports.
Real quick before you go on, just magnify that picture so they can see it good.
Okay, yeah, we'll try to. Let's see. Hold on. How do I put that to the side? Now it may. Let's see. Okay, here we go. How's that?
Still not seeing it good.
It may be coming in a little blurry.
Okay.
Because of the. Got it now?
Yeah. Well, no, it's not coming up at all. I mean, we can see the entire screen on here.
Okay, because of the pixelation, probably. But when you keep in mind the typical sprinter's body, he has the form and the definition of that runs the gamut of your football players, that runs the gamut of your baseball players. But like I said, a lot of athletes tend to have body dysmorphia, and athletes who are interested in, becoming exotic entertainers, they often ask, well, should I put on more weight? Should I put on, should I try to get that bedroom body, right? Because we know that that bedroom body is the wheelhouse. And I'll show another comparison to the bedroom body, but owning who you are, owning your structure, owning your frame is key. And and I get it. The reason why a lot of guys, especially athletic guys, ask, if they should put on weight, is because the average woman is intimidated by that. And a lot, it's hard for some men to believe that, but a lot of women are put off by guys who have, ripped shoulders, full, 6-pack, 8-pack abs, completely designed and chiseled, cut frames and things like that, because the woman feels that she doesn't measure up. She feels like she's being judged. We also talk about the women wanting to be the most attractive in that situation or that scenario. And what I tell guys who do show up in an athletic or fit, with a fit body or fit frame or fit composition, is the same thing that I tell guys who are, way larger on the spectrum, 6'8", 280, huge, because they're the first thing that people notice when they walk into a space. And what you want to do is downplay it.
Okay.
Now, that may be counterintuitive for some people, but being able to maintain a level of mystique, being that mysterious man who doesn't have to be boisterous, being that because your presence is already felt as soon as you walk into a space. People know, okay, this is Mr. Fitness, this is Mr. Alpha, this is Mr. Body that's walking in here. What does he want? What is his intent? And so when you're carrying that over into the intimate space, when you're carrying that over into the sensual space, outside of a small percentage of women who want you to be barbaric, all right, and those types, those are the Amazons. Okay, let's be clear. Those are the former collegiate athletes themselves. The track stars, the gymnasts, the basketball players, the rugby player women who need to be picked up and moved around a little bit like furniture. Okay, but for the vast majority of women, they are definitely intimidated. So knowing and being aware of how you show up and what your physical presence is presenting in a space is key to the comfortability of you being in a space. And her being more comfortable with you obviously opens her up to be more receptive to your tone, be more receptive to your presentation, be more receptive to your commands and your invitations and your escalation, right? Mm-hmm. We talk about, the introduction, how my name is, or, hey, I saw you from across this space, and man, I just had to say, we talk about the introduction, but we have to focus on the escalation and the transition, right? Introduction, escalation, transition, and then ultimately the close, right?
Okay.
Those are key components of going from hello to the pillow, or hello to the number, hello to change of venue, change of scene. That's really what your movements, your control of your physical presence within a space is conveying. And that's the mentality that you want to maintain throughout that interaction.
Wow. Man, you just laid out some real seduction, deep level. I feel you. Man, just go. I'm just gonna let you go on.
So
questions right now.
So we talked about the alpha showpiece. Clearly, we talked about the roughneck, and we'll get back to that in a minute. We've talked about the athlete. Okay, now, and hopefully this comes up. I want to give an example of the body type that's on the other side of the spectrum.
There's the jock. Now he comes up.
He said what?
Now the jock comes up.
Oh, it popped up now. Okay.
Now we got that's a good one of the marathon of the slimmer dude.
Yes. Now we have the Slim Jim. It's a good number of men who fall into this category. A lot of men who are slow gainers, high metabolism. They come into a space for personal training, or they come into a space and they're completely unsure because, and it depends. It depends on the, like I said, knowing your tribe, knowing what your target sort of demographic is. A lot of guys get talked about, coming up in school. They're called beanpole. They're called, you know what I'm saying, like all Jack Sprat, whatever name you want to put out there. Kids can be cruel, but when you own who you are, you own your frame. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna tell you, I've encountered dancers, okay, who had similar frames to this. Maybe not that thin, but very, very relative, who are definitely the thinnest dancers in the club on a given evening. But what they did was they owned their space.
Mm-hmm.
They know how long their arms are. They know how, if they're getting into their routine, how to squat into position. They know their weight capacity for picking up a woman. They know how to move furniture around in the room and blindfold a woman. They know how to put that energy back onto their target, the focus of attention, blindfold the woman, it heighten her sensory perception, slowly roll down the side of her shirt. Okay, get a towel, get a piece of ice, get a rose petal, okay, and just go to work at driving her her other sensory organs crazy, highlighting the skin, making, like I said, if she's blindfolded, she has to trust your voice. If she's blindfolded, she has to trust being led by you from one space to another, one scene to the next. Are you standing her up? Are you sitting her down in a chair? Are you tying her up? Are you removing her shoes? Are you removing a piece of clothing? All of these things work in concert. Like I said, your body is your primary tool. It's not the only tool, but it's the primary tool. And your knowledge of self, your self-awareness is key in how you navigate and negotiate not only the environment, but those who are around in the environment at a given point in time. And when it comes to the performance arc within seduction, me, I'm all about performance arc. Okay, what type of energy output does it take to get whatever discipline done that you're approaching? Technique and breathing, that's what it all comes down to. But when we talk about the sensual space, even a man with a slimmer body build has the ability to be a seductive force for a woman. Not only just putting the sensory overload back on her, but then inviting her to explore your body, saying that, hey, this is me. I love me. I embrace. Look, I'm so. Get her hand and put. Look at me. Look, this is me. This is how you're turning me on. You're turning me on. Now let me show you how I want to turn you on.
Wow. Hey, I want to say something. Just kind of to interject for a second.
Absolutely.
You gave a powerful piece, which is really part of sexual charisma. When you said 3 words, own your frame. Because if you own your frame, that means you're comfortable with yourself and your own sexuality. And it's so powerful now, even though we might not have that big 300-pound guy with his stomach out. I've seen men like that because they just say, you know what, I'm a big man, I own this frame. And see, that level of confidence that a man has in his own body, that translates to the woman, that communicates something to the woman. So that's a powerful thing. And I've even said that about body game. I said a big part of it is owning, like, I don't use the word own your frame, but being comfortable with your body. That's it. Don't worry about it. You're not like 6'2", you're not super cut, but be comfortable with what you have. That's why, especially some guys who might have a bedroom body, they might not have those abs, but they good with what they do have. And they'll walk around, they walking around naked in the room and everything real comfortable. And the woman's like going, whoo, but it's owning your frame, being comfortable. A lot of men really aren't comfortable with themselves. They're not comfortable. They're definitely not comfortable with their face. They're not comfortable with their height. And they're definitely not comfortable with their frame. And they don't realize that's the main thing that's hurting them, because it's communicated to a woman in everything, in how they speak to the woman, how they look at her, how they walk, when they stand up. It's all communicated because they simply not comfortable with their own self. Now I wonder how. Okay, you just said some stuff. I said some stuff. I wonder how many people what we just said combined is going to go over their heads. Oh man, this is some powerful stuff, and it's still going to go over some people's heads. But you know what? Let's keep going over their heads. You can go
No,
ahead, man.
I think it's a great point you bring up about the bigger guys, right?
Mhm.
I got a picture. Hopefully it's sharing right now of the
It
construction
is.
guy. Okay, we talk about the octane scale, right? You got the
Mhm.
87s, the 89s. We got the craftsmen. We got the
Mhm.
construction workers. We got the electricians. We got the HVAC guys. Okay, we got the carpenters. We got the plumbers. We got the truck drivers. We got the train operators. We got the majority of the labor force. The majority of the
Mhm.
labor force. If you want to go to the 92 octane guys who, maybe were former athletes and they're now living a more sedentary lifestyle, we can go there too. But I wanted to make sure that I highlighted this type of body composition
Mhm.
because, as you and I spoke about before, across cultures, this feeds into that roughneck
Mhm.
body type, the roughneck,
Mhm.
the rover, the utility guy,
Mhm.
the guy who is capable of fulfilling multiple roles within a space. Okay, the lineman.
Mhm.
Okay, the scrum guy, depending on where you're from. Um, but this is the most capable body type. This is you can put him anywhere and he's going to perform. Okay, he's going to perform the task.
Well, I'm gonna share some because I'm on my Rom TV. I talk about Goodbar claims and different types of Mr. Goodbars, and I specifically talk about bangers. And that's one thing I've always found. You see some of those guys who got legitimate high counts, and women going crazy. They might have legitimate high counts, multiple baby mamas and stuff. I'm like, these some big linebacker looking dudes. These are big barbecue dudes and stuff. You be trying to tell them like, hey, you need to be hitting that diet. They say, dude, I'm gonna finish this rib. You want one? You know you want one. You look hungry. Stuff. Be gregarious and everything and stuff. Got that look on them. Because even this picture, that look like a couple players I know who you don't want your woman talking with them for 5 minutes.
You know what that look is. You know what
Yeah,
that look is.
exactly.
That look is. I know how to tear that thing apart.
And women pick up on that. Seriously. I know some got that exact look, and women be like getting wet and stuff. They'll say, well, I want this and that. And the guy be like, all right, man,
Right.
come on over here. Hey,
Come get
girl.
this.
Hey, girl, you got a big fine. Use a big fine woman wants you back that thing up. You
Right.
know that. Shoot. Like construction workers and stuff. I'm gonna tell you something I found. A lot of those blue collar, it's very rare I find a blue collar guy who ain't getting it like that. It's very rare. At least getting maybe not even a player, but at least got it like a fine woman or something. Or at least
Right.
an attractive woman. It's rare. It happens, but it's rare. You be
Well, think
talking
about
with
it.
them, they be getting them.
He's got the provider protector physique.
Yeah.
Okay. You add to that the uniform, right? Women love uniform because it speaks to utility. It speaks to capability.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It speaks to virility. It speaks to a type of prowess. Especially men who are in the labor force. Oh, he can build houses.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he can build a nest. That's speaking to that primal instinct
Mm-hmm.
that's just hardwired over millions of years in terms of a desirable partner. And we say all this to say that there is not just one cookie cutter type
Exactly.
that is arousing to a woman. And just to finish highlighting, that look on his face is he knows what's next. He knows what comes next. We can go through the various steps, and I just went through 4 steps of approaching a woman, introduce the introduction, the escalation, the transition, and then the close. But I've got 7 steps, right?
Yeah, I know.
Just to spell it out. But
Mhm.
all this to say, to dispel the sort of myth that a lot of guys are hung up on, that there's not something that you can say to women. You know what's cool? What I appreciate about some content creators is that they get the importance of having a conversation with their audience, the importance of engaging in conversation with their audience reveals the true mentality of the men who are out here in the real world. You know, it's funny. We as content creators, we tend to be of the mentality of our contemporaries. Oh, okay, you know, it's easy for us because we have decades of this experience. We have decades of these conversations, and we're very fortunate. Okay, you and I are in a very privileged position to have been around other men who have, you know, pioneered, you know, various aspects of game. Even the men that we consider our mentors, our coaches, our stewards of culture, who have sat us down and gone over some very fundamental principles. And we've had these talks. We've built the dialect, we've built the vocabulary and the comfortability to just approach and talk very casual. And if you remember, just standing outside the gym, okay, you know, women walking by, and just conversations just pop up organically. And I think that's one of the most important things: being natural, being comfortable, having the conversations come up organically. The young lady who walked out the gym, I think she was a manager, if you remember.
Yeah.
A conversation just sprung up because she was wearing like snakeskin shoes. Okay, snakeskin shoes. How could you not start a conversation with a woman wearing snakeskin shoes? But being comfortable in your own skin, not being outcome dependent, looking just to be present in the moment, and not I didn't want anything from her. You didn't want anything from him. We were just having a human moment, a human moment of present exchange. We were just exchanging. It was not transactional. And the smile on her face, the pep that she got in her step, because she gets it. Most women get it. Most women get it, and they look for it, and they try to avoid awkwardness. They try to avoid, you know, a man who is not confident. Because let's go back to the primal side. If you're not confident, you don't know what's coming next. If you don't have skill sets, you don't have the tools to improvise, you know, a fix, or, you know, a transition from danger. Okay, you're a liability. Okay, we're not even talking about money. We're not talking about credit. We're not talking about, you know, place to stay. No. In the moment, you present yourself as a liability when you're awkward, when you're unconfident, when you're unsure, when you're uncomfortable in your own skin. Imagine being uncomfortable in your own skin in a space. Unpack. Go ahead. What I try to do, I know you try to do yourself with coaching clients. Even before we discuss conversational skills, even before we discuss places to meet women that we desire, even before all of that stuff, we try to get to the core of the person that we're talking to. Who are you? What do you like? How do you feel in your skin? What's your background? What's your family history? What were the conversations with the men in your life like? And now let's build the impact statements around that. Let's build upon your experiences. Let's draw out those pivotal moments within your development that you can point to and say, I accomplished something there, or I displayed my talent there. Every man has something. Every man has a story. Every man has a talent. Every man has an ability. Every man has a mission. And that is what we seek to identify and highlight first before we then, put all of the subsequent, decorative, presentational materials around it. Then we discuss, the relationship with your barber. We discuss, your gym regimen. We discuss nutrition. We discuss your clothing choices. We discuss all of that stuff, cosmetic, after we get to what's the most important. And that's you discovering who you truly are inside and owning it, loving that first, and then being able to display that outwardly.
Boom, boom, boom. You just laid it out for him. Because it means everything. It goes back to owning your frame and everything. Just being confident in yourself. Because a lot of people got a problem with that. A lot of people say, oh, it's like, look, it's just believing in yourself. I mean, shit. It's like, if you can own it, like, no matter what. Like I said, a key part of body game is not the aesthetic of being comfortable in your own body. And that leads to everything else. And women pick up on that. And especially sexual confidence. A lot of men ain't comfortable with what they can do in a bedroom, how long they can last, the size of their joint and everything. Shit, I was like, please. I got so many tricks in the bedroom. I'm confident that I say, if I can't get you one way, I'll get you another. Like you going to do something. I made a woman squirt one time with just this. She ain't even stick it in yet. I made her squirt with my index finger. So I mean, yes, this is. I hope people are taking notes. But you go on. I know there's still more you got up in here.
Yeah, we got a couple more, but I want to make sure that we let men know, especially men that carry around a little extra weight, just maintain a healthy regimen of consistent exercise. Getting up, being mobile, because your cardiovascular center in your system assists with your endocrine system. And your endocrine system is what regulates and dictates your states of arousal. Okay, so that heat that you feel when you see a fine woman, when you see a delicious pair of legs, that heat that you start to feel in like the thyroid area, all out to your other glands, under your arms, down your back, that is your endocrine system coming online, and that regulates your states of arousal, and in order to maintain that particular system on into your advanced years, you need to be mobile. You need to, have like I said, a regular regimen of cardiovascular activity, resistance training, meaning weight training. Definitely be able to move your body around doing push-ups, pull-ups, dips. Okay, we definitely made sure that we highlighted that this particular time. But I want to hit this other body type.
Okay.
We talked about big man game. We talked about the athletes. We talked about the alpha showpiece. Talked about guys with the bedroom body. But what about the guys who are 5'4"? What about the guys who are 5'2"? The guys who are 5 feet tall. There are so many stories, and I know you've got your own stories. I've heard a few of them of guys who are shorter in stature. I call this the bohemian look. Obviously, he's got the crown locks. He's got the wiry frame. All right, and he is on a good day wearing boots with heels on it. He's 5'5" on a good day.
Man, okay. Oh, I got a story behind that, and I mentioned this person. I never called his name. I'm gonna call his name. He might even see the video.
Okay.
It's at this gym I worked at, and I mentioned this guy 5'5". He was 5'5", 130. The women called him caveman. The women gave him a name. The women were going crazy over him because he just had that attitude. He didn't care. He would purposely go for women who were like 5'9", 5'10". It's like I saw him work. He just didn't care. The women gave him the name Caveman because he said, yeah, he'll knock him over the head and drag him to his cave because he didn't care. Like I said, and he used to dress like Prince. He used to dress. He had a fly way of dressing and everything, but he was like a superior athlete and polymath. He was actually a literal genius. Mm-hmm. But he didn't care. Like him being 5, that was like whatever. I've seen him do stuff with 2 5'9", 5'10" women. And it was just like that total bohemian thing. Like he said, he 5'5", 130 pounds, and he didn't give a fuck. That's why, like a lot of times when you get guys saying, well, I'm short. I've known so many short players. My co-parent, she tells me about this guy who was the father of a friend of hers. He was 5 feet, and that dude he was tearing up young girls, like young women in their 20s. And he said he was only about 5 feet. I mean, seriously, because he had the attitude. He was comfortable. It comes back. They on their frame. They said, okay, we're this height. We're not going to sit here and worry about it. It's like, we're just going to still do our thing. And that confidence is that powerful with women. See, any guys who doubt all that, that tells me right there, they're not confident. Because confidence isn't a cliche. It isn't a cliche. Women pick up on that because women are largely insecure. So if a man come up, he believes in himself, that touches something in a woman on a deep level. So I've seen the guys like that. I've seen plenty. And people be like, how do you do it? How do you get it? They ain't that tall. Yeah, but they don't give a fuck. They're like, all right, this me. I'm owning this and just going to keep going. I've seen women throw it at them. I remember I was doing a vending show and there was a dude next to me and he reminded me of Barney Rubble. He had a stocky body, 5'2". This young girl pretty much grinded up on him. She didn't know. I mean, she was moving and everything, just talking with her. I was like, you know her? Nah, man, I'm just meeting her. She was I'm like, seriously, he looked like Barney Rubble. He was like stocky, but he had a smile. He was just cool and calm and everything. I was like, hey, there's some stuff. Seriously, people don't realize that if they get that gets past a lot of that other stuff. Because even with the height thing, you get some guys over 6 feet and they might be lanky and still not confident in themselves, despite everything.
Absolutely. And let's, I know a lot of guys, especially, in certain sectors of these spaces, they discount the value of energy. And that's one of the most primary, tools and primary sort of forces that exists within this dynamic. Women are extremely intuitive, just on account of how the female anatomy is set up. We can get down to the science, but basically, most guys are familiar with what BTUs represent. Okay, how much energy is put off by a certain dynamo or dynamic. Your body physically puts off energy, puts off heat, puts off pheromonal output. So when we talk about your energy, the energy of confidence, the energy of seduction, the energy of self-awareness, that you being a calming force, like you said, you could have a small stature or whatever, but if you're the quiet in the storm, if you're that rock, if you're the steady hand when everybody's losing control or have no answers for a situation that's come up, you're going to be looked upon as a light, a steward, a guiding force, in a sea of chaos. And nothing gets a woman wetter than a bad motherfucker who knows how to solve a situation.
Boom.
Okay.
Boom. Seriously, that try to tell, but see, a lot of guys think that's some cliche, but that's because they don't have it.
Well, that's a very good point that you bring up. And some of the conversations that we were having, I was chilling out with the cigars and cognac with Officer Faulkner. We were talking about leadership, and hopefully in another podcast or another discussion, we can talk about leadership and more in depth. But the thing about it is when you're talking about the difference between a man who gets it, a man who knows what comes next, and a man who just sits on the sideline, a man who's just, a perennial loser, so to speak. Even a man who has talent, okay, versus a man who is consistent, a man who's disciplined. Discipline outweighs talent, right? But we look for talent. We want talent, okay? Everybody has a talent. But the difference between a successful person and an unsuccessful person is whether or not that person has been challenged. And as a leader, you understand that, especially if you've got people, under your leadership, they need to be challenged. You need to be challenged. Your body needs to be challenged. You need to be put in scenarios that sharpen your skills. You need to be put in scenarios that challenge your critical thinking skills. That's why in the dating and mating space, they say, approach however many women in a given period of time, because it's repetitions, it's exercise. You commit it to muscle memory. Again, like I said, go back to the young lady that's passing by as we're just chatting. We're casually chatting outside the gym. It started with, she dropped the pen or dropped the pencil, and playfully giving her a hard time about that, acting like nobody saw her do that or whatever. That reaction, like I said, was organic. Yeah. But it comes over a period of repetitions. Repetitions. Being comfortable talking or communicating your personality and being unapologetic about it. I didn't say, "Oh, excuse me, man. I apologize, but forgive me for, intruding into your space." No. Oh, we saw you drop that pen. You try to get away with it, huh?
That's how you do it. Exactly. It was just like a nice flow. That's all it is. No flow. Don't think about it too much. That's why I tell men who ask about what talking to women, I say, start out saying hi to 3 random women a day. And then as you do that, and some men came back and said they do that, they start getting comfortable. Then I said, as you get more comfortable, then when you run into that woman you actually want, you just flowing with it. You're not thinking about it. It's just a natural flow. Because that's all it is. And that happens with me. Because like I've told people, like where I live, people don't know what I do for a living or anything. But I got friends at pretty much every store, like female friends at pretty much every store, because I just sit there, hey, how you doing? All of that. Just on a natural conversation, natural flow. And I'm not thinking about it. I ain't trying to get with them or anything, even though they can be very attractive. I ain't thinking in that way. I'm just flowing, because sometimes I'm coming in, they like, hey, Rom, I'm like, they say, what's wrong, baby? What's going on? They saying that because I'm just tired today. Yeah. Shoot, there's a cleaning. When I wasn't feeling well like a few weeks ago, there was this young Hispanic young lady. She saw me because we always speak, and she's like, "Hey, you're not feeling well. You okay?" I was like, "Nah, man, I'm feeling. Hey, get some rest now, okay?" She's like, "Okay, you have a good day." Seriously. And I've seen the same. And it's funny. I've seen the same young lady because she's very attractive. Other guys have tried to spit at her coming through, and she's like, so like, hey.
Yeah, it's interesting. One of the biggest difference in one of the things that add to the anxiety of most men is that they're trying to anticipate a woman's desire from the perspective of a man. And we're two different
Exactly.
creatures. We're two different creatures. Uh, and how we view the world, how we view ourselves, how we view the opposite sex, what our abilities are, so different, so
Yeah,
different. But
exactly.
that's why these conversations are important, because with, you know, you and I, we have thousands and thousands of repetitions, you know, in this thing regarding interacting with women
Exactly.
for a variety of reasons. And over a period of time, you notice those subtle differences. You notice that women are attracted to different things about men than men are attracted to women about. Obviously, the physical nature is there, the physicality of their symmetry is important, but your character, your personality, your energy, how you present yourself, that's a bit more important to women because it's more noticeable. It's a more subtle sort of sub communication. Like I always say, women communicate on at least 3 different levels simultaneously. Men, we're the ones that are, you know, physical. You know, we see this beautiful rose, you know, in a sea of sunflowers, and we're focused laser on her, that silhouette, those amazing thighs, those beautiful eyes that are just alluring, those pouty lips, the amazing way that her her bone structure calls to you. That's us. That's the, you know, we can poetically emote how we're desirous of a woman. But on the flip side, when you ask a woman, or you read poetry and the writings of women, how they articulate desire for men, it's the way he held himself, when he extended his hand to mine, when he, you know, the way that he brushed up against me, you know, subtly, without, you know, without question, his unapologetic nature. You know, you see, there is very, very different, very, very different approaches, but the same dance, very, you know, same, and that only comes from experiencing a variety of women over a period of time and getting those repetitions in, so that you have a better sense of orientation as a masculine master. That's the goal at the end of the day. To start, that's your starting position. You start from your masculine center, and then, you know, you carry it out into your mission, and along the way you discover these desirable you know, gifts of exchanges with women. So I think
I'm gonna say something about that. I wish a lot of men could understand that, just the little subtle things, maybe a subtle flirt, you know, a woman seeing you that, you know, and she just give you that little smile. Oh man, or that look. You know, that look they give you where they really ain't like just a friend and stuff, where they just stop, they look at you, it could be just for a few seconds, but, you know, nothing is said, but everything is understood.
everything's understood in that instant.
Like, exactly.
If you're feeling froggish, if you're feeling froggish in that instant, you can walk right over directly to her, guide her by the elbow over into a quiet corner.
Oh, it's happened. It's happened. And I mean,
absolutely.
I'm gonna just say this personally. I don't talk about it as much publicly, but I can think of some seductions that happened and the word sex never came out. I never said, hey, I want to have sex with you. It was like, hey, let's go to this room. Let's go do this. I mean, I remember one time I was at a retreat with a woman, and the whole time we never talked about, hey, let's hook up and all of this. We never talked about it. But then it was just one time it was at an Airbnb. It was in the kitchen. She was standing right there because we had been interacting. I just kissed her. And then the next thing you know, we in her room and everything. And it was beautiful. And it was just very subtle. It was very subtle. No conversation about it. We were talking about other things, just having a good time and everything. And see, that's the thing. A lot of guys gotta, well, like you said, it's the repetition. It's the repetitions. You got to do it because so many subtle things. It could be, it could be a woman's body language. She crossed those legs in your direction. She showed just enough thigh or something to make a reasonable man stupid. It's like, seriously, or they might lean over or something, let you see the breastises or whatever. Or be in the gym or something and, they exercising, but they point that ass right at you. They actually pull their shirt up a little bit. Like if they ain't interested, they'll pull their shirt down over their ass. But if they interested, they'll pull it up. They'll point your way or something. Or they'll be, or some personal trainers, they'll be in a position where they looking at you. Something. It's always something. There's always some little small thing that wherever you at, no matter where you at. Like you can go, like I always tell the buffalo wing story. That's what it was. I'm sitting there really trying to eat and women coming over to me. I never forget that. It was annoying as hell. I really wanted to finish my food. But they would just come to me and stuff. And I've seen that happen with some other dudes, but it's always subtle. It might be the look. I've seen some women just sit totally still and they might just glance over or they just be totally receptive. Or one of my favorites, like you walking down the street and a woman walking ahead of you at a normal pace and she just glanced back and then all of a sudden slowed down. I was like, oh God. Like slow, you see them, they just walking, doing their stuff. They just look back. They might not smile or anything, but all of a sudden their pace slows down greatly.
The sidewalk slow down. Yeah.
Oh, man. That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. And it's like, the thing is, women always looking. But for a man to get there, that's why we got to bring it back to the body and stuff. You got to be comfortable in your own frame. And it's like, it doesn't, you don't have to look specifically like one type, which to me is stupid. Some guys be thinking you gotta be a certain height, look like a Chad. I'm like, yeah, there's some women like a Chad, but there's some women like that big football player. There's some women like that bohemian dude. It's all you gotta just figure out, okay, who wanna do it. If a man, in fact, if you put a man in a room with 100 women and he just learned to be quiet, just stay within himself and just pay attention, he'll start picking out the women interested. And know which women aren't interested. But it takes practice.
Yeah.
You got to interact with women. That's the only way you're going to develop. You got to interact. Every single time a man interacts with a woman, you need to just make a mental note, put it in his computer bank.
Absolutely. What's interesting, have you ever taken a sculpting class or an interpretive art class?
No.
And you could probably Google this. If you were to ask a man to, like I just did, describe his ideal woman, most men, 90, 98, 99% of men will start saying 5'5", caramel skin, almond eyes, pouty red lips, cheekbones like this, 36, B or C breasts, tapered waist, 40, then you ask women to describe their ideal man. By the time a woman's done describing a man, you've got this shadowy figure that is like completely nondescript, except for maybe height. But the difference, here's the key, and this is why I bring this up. Most women, and this goes back to the imprint, most women only have a figure, which is a range of a type of man that she is aroused by or she's attracted to. It's only when a certain man comes into her purview that shadowy figure starts to take light. Whereas a man, the way that we're designed, you ask us what our desire, we have a picture. we can pull up the picture on image search like that one. Okay. But that's one of the beautiful differences between contrast between the way that we're wired, the way that we're designed. And once a man realizes that, he realizes that his tribe or his demographic or the spectrum of women that he has access to is vast, is way more vast than he can imagine. Because most men think, okay, maybe I'll have 10 women in my lifetime. I got to find that one special someone. Yeah. Even if I forsake all other women, this is what I like. This is her. Let me look for this. Let me search for this woman. Whereas the vast majority of women, they want a range of men. They have a range of this. That's why the more experienced man you talk to when discussing dating and mating and man gets woman, he starts to say, I don't have a type. Okay.
Boom.
Now he can break down, what he likes, what excites him. But in terms of, okay, this is specifically, I only want this type. No. The more seasoned man, the more self-aware man, the more experienced man will start to understand that you can appreciate a variety of women, because at the end of the day, the woman that you experience and that you exchange, that you have that exchange with, you're appreciating yourself through her.
So you went deep, and you, once again, you gave some powerful stuff. And I especially like what you said though about the range that women, because I've said that, they might have that ideal that look like Adonis, but then they'll be totally happy with somebody who's the total opposite. Women have a range. Very, very few women are very stuck on a type. There are some, but most women, they have a range. As long as you in that range, you good. You just have to be confident. Because like you said, it's not exact. If you even listen to a woman, they'll say, well, they'll say he's handsome, right? Okay, they say, well, he got to be handsome. But what's handsome to one woman can be different. I've known women, they'll point out a variety of men, and none of the men really look alike at all. But they all
exactly
handsome. I've seen that with some women. Then frustrated by some ex-girlfriends like that. Seeing, they dealt with me, but then they deal with somebody else. And I'm like, there's nothing in common with us, but they good though. But see, we got to understand that. And then what you said about men having a range, because me, I always talk about the butt dump. Me, I like that big round butt dump. But then when I look at many of the women I've actually been with, people be surprised. Everything from like real petite women to some big women that don't necessarily have that butt dump, But it was like I just opened up and, find the thing about them that I do like. Because I look for, when you get more mature, you do look for that click. That's the main thing. That's the only thing I'll say. Do I click with?
And that's it. At the end of the day, and this is why getting to know yourself and becoming self-aware is so crucial to this entire thing, because it's only the self-aware person who understands how to locate another person who's self-aware, because they are unapologetically on display. Like, we talk about body game, we talk about presentation, we talk about, maintaining, fitness and everything like that. But that's just the beginning. Like I said, this is a vehicle. And the purpose of a vehicle is to deliver. What you are delivering is your true essence to the other person. And what you're looking for in return, and this is why over time and experience, you fail to have a type, because you're looking for something that's more intrinsic. You're looking for something that's deeper. And it sounds cliche, but over time, the most attractive women are the most unique. The most attractive women are the most well-developed. The most attractive women are the most idealistic, the ones who are seeking adventure, the ones who are looking for a deeper, more interesting experience. Mm-hmm. A woman can have a Louis Vuitton bag. She can have that Birkin bag. Of course, she's got guys lined up who can take her on a helicopter flight that'll land on this yacht, that'll take them to this location or whatever. Ha ha ho hum. Has she met an author who has the ability to take her through the various steps of human observation?
I got a term for that general phenomenon. And I actually learned it from an author. Her name was L.A. Banks. She's an ancestor now, but she wrote a series. She wrote a lot of like paranormal books with, I'll say, an urban slant to them, particularly a book about vampire huntress. And we would talk. She was a big sister to me. I would always miss her. But she talked about it in her books. She talked about the female characters looking for something new. Because she had a storyline where, two of the main characters who were in a relationship, they were having some trouble. So the buddy of the male character he had all these powers, used to be a vampire. This other vampire say, you know what if you showed us something? Have you showed us something new lately? And see, women will go for that. If you that guy and you show a woman something new, what she hadn't seen before, she gets intrigued. It's something new for her. Women need a relationship to go on adventures because of their insecurity. So you get that guy and he hit her with something different. That's why sometimes it's rare. But it does happen. You can get a dime who will hook up with a nerd if he's comfortable with being a nerd. And he hit her with something new though. Did he show her something new? It's like, and that's even important in holding on to a woman. Sometimes you got to switch up. You got to show her something new. Like you might be that guy who always made love to her with those rose petals and candles and everything. But one day, you know how I say, one day you got to drag the mattress into the living room, sit there butt naked. When she get through that door, rip her clothes off, throw in that mattress and tap that ass like you just got out of prison. And she'll be like, oh, this is something new. Seriously, that's the thing. Like even in a relationship, but if you got something new, like something unique about you. And trust me, I've personally known some women who would be considered 100 octanes and even on that diesel thing. They might hook up with somebody you couldn't imagine by a man's logic. Why she with him? He showed her something new. It's very simple. That's why. But see, the guy who could show us something new, what he do? He owns his frame. He's comfortable with who he is. Like I know this dude, a bunch of guys, I don't want to be a nice guy. I know this dude, he got a badass woman who became, his wife, mother of his child. And I always remember what he said. He said, I'm a nice guy and I don't give a fuck. I'm good with it. But he was so confident, he still got women anyway. He said, this is who I am, He was comfortable with it. He didn't have any problems. He was comfortable with who he was. So, and the women I was seeing with, they were very attractive. So that's the thing. And it's like, it all still come down to say, own your frame, own it. Just be comfortable with who you are. And if you're not comfortable, then work on getting comfortable with who you are.
And get around people who are comfortable with who they are, because you are the combination of your closest 5 people. Even if you've got coaching sessions with someone who's on the other side of the planet, it starts to rub off. Part of the conversation that we were having about leadership, and this is in terms of a team, okay? I'm not talking about, they talk about content creators who try to make copies and make many, versions of themselves. No, a leader molds a team in a true leader of a team molds the team in his image. That is because the team needs to move as a unit. And if that leader is a capable steward of that enterprise, that team is going to see the value in success.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that they're becoming, replications of this guy. He's not creating many versions of him. He's creating a cohesive unit. It's just like the Tampa Bay defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had Jameis Winston work that offense. Now you've got Tom Brady. Same team,
Mm-hmm.
but they had to learn the playbook.
Mm-hmm.
And when we talk about a man, being a true leader, when he is himself and comfortable being himself and he owns who he is, it doesn't matter what woman he's with and he has on his team, she is going to submit to his program because he is mission focused. That is what it's all about, being a masculine master. Leadership, stewardship. Women come and go. And that's probably another conversation for another day. All the different types of relationships that we have and that we could potentially have over a period of time, they have their seasons, they have their timelines, they have their moments and their lessons and the exchange. Sometimes the exchange is that experience for that particular point in time. But at the end of the day, as long as you're mission focused, you stay on your path of masculine mastery, you are going to continue to graduate to the next level, to the next space, not holding on to something that has outlived its benefit, where you're at a point of diminishing returns, just for the sake of saying that I've had a relationship for 10 years, or I've had a relationship for 20 years. But it's no longer serving your purpose. It's no longer serving your mission, and you're fighting, and all of the benefits are diminished in comparison to the detriment that you're causing. For what? For cosmetic, ego, lip service, for putting on a show for people who do not care about what's going on with you behind doors, because at the end of the day, they're their own person. They have their own mission. You need to be your own person. You need to be honest about who you are, why you're here, where you're going, and what you are seeking to accomplish while you are here in this beautiful biomechanical vehicle called the human body. And at the end of the day, that's really what it's about.
Well said. Well said. Man, we about to get into some other stuff. You have anything closing to say about the body types?
Well, the body types, the body types that I presented are very, very rudimentary. Obviously, they represent a range. You discover what your personal body type is yourself, and you need to start immediately. If you are watching this right now at some other point in time in history, if you have the opportunity, if you're at home, if you're in a space where you can take your clothes off, go to the nearest mirror, okay, and look at yourself. Give yourself an objective, honest, balanced observation. And no matter what, say, this is who I am. I love me.
Boom.
I love me, no matter what. If you're in a transitional state, if you're starting a new exercise regime, if you're starting a new nutritional program, if you got baby weight because your wife or significant other just gave birth or whatever, in this moment, you need to own who you are, because this could be the moment that changes the course of your understanding for self, your appreciation for your journey, and your embracing on the true path of masculine mastery.
Boom. 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 Man. Oh, man. We're going to do this again. Hey, I want to thank you. Well, for that, I want to just thank you for coming in, sharing that, because my thing is this: people talking game and all this stuff, and I'm gonna be real, no disrespect, and people need the level that people share, but I think we can go deeper. We can
Oh,
go
absolutely.
deeper, and once people really understand that, because it really, as we go deeper, we actually go more basic, and it's like not a complicated thing. You know, somebody simply owning their own frame, being confident in themselves, that's all they need. Like you use an example when we interacting with that young lady. It was very natural. It was just a total flow. You know, we just waiting to get into the gym and stuff, and she do something. It's a total flow. When she came outside, she's smiling and stuff. You know, she's smiling and all of that, and that's how it is. That's how it's supposed to be. So I want to thank you for coming. All for everybody who watched this. I want y'all to really, uh, really take some notes, ask some questions. Check out Cousin T Tall's channel is in the description box. Y'all need to hit him up. Y'all need to hit his links, join his Patreon. Y'all need to hit him up for coaching because this is the pro. He trains men on seduction. So definitely check out his book, The Seduction Scripture. So that's all we have for today. Get back with y'all later. Peace and blessings.
Peace.